All right, and my name is Brian Niskola. I am an author and kind of like an inventor and builder. But anyway, this is my shop, and what I am building today is something I think that everybody who does any type of recording or sound recording, voice recording, musical recording, whatever, is probably a desktop studio. And what I basically sketched out, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that is my desktop design. And it's basically going to be 3 feet wide. So that should probably fit on most standard desktops. As well as it's going to be roughly about 2 feet deep. So that should cover like an average desktop area. And I'm going to be using foam, these 1-inch pieces. Actually, it's 4 by 8 by 1 inch thick. I got these from Lowe's for about 20 bucks a sheet. 2 sheets, so about $40. And I got 1 inch just because it's going to be a little more stable when it's resting on top of the desktop. On top of that is it's more sound absorption. And I'm sure you'll probably hear my dogs barking in a little while. So I'll give you a general idea. So, also I cut these sheets in half. So you can probably fit them in most standard cars or SUVs. And then 2 other things I'm going to be using. One, it's plastic dip. It is a kind of like a rubberized coating, also great for soundproofing as well. And then I'm going to be using high contact cement. Basically, it's made by 3M and it's a high strength. Pretty decent stuff. And the reason why I'm not using regular spray paint, I'm using plastic dip, is, I don't know if you can see this, but here, I'll walk closer to the camera. But when you have foam, what happens is this is the plastic dip on this side, and then this is regular spray paint, and you can kind of see what happens. It dissolves the foam. So anyway, we're going to be using the plastic dip because it doesn't melt the foam on top of it. It's going to make a nice surface, so when we spray it with that 3M contact cement, the sound absorbing material is going to stick to it, adhere to it, and you have a really good bond. And then this is the sound absorbing acoustic material. It's basically some standard foam, and I got this on Amazon. I think it was I got about 24 of these pieces for under $50. So that's a pretty decent deal. I'll put the links for everything below so you know exactly what to get. And that's pretty much it. I mean, basically, let's get right into building. And like I said, these are pretty big sheets. So if you don't have a car big enough, ask somebody. I'm sure you got a friend that's got a pickup truck or something. But I have a pickup truck, and these sheets were 8 feet long, and I ended up cutting them down just because they were just like monster. All right, so basically what we're going to be doing is using a black magic marker. And we're going to measure out. Now, this side is a rough side, so this is the side I definitely don't want to use. That end is going to be the flat side, so that's the one I'm going to be taking most of my measurements off of. And I'll give you a close-up view of my plan. It's kind of rough, but you'll get a general idea of what it does, how it looks, and then once it's completely assembled, I'll take a bunch of pictures so you can get a really good idea what it looks like. But anyway, first measurement is going to be the back wall. It's basically going to be 3 feet by 2.5 feet high. So to give you a general idea of how high this is going to be, is you are looking at, that is 2.5 feet high. So basically, even if you're standing at your desk, and I'm 5'7", so but even if you're probably about 6 foot, this should definitely fit. Or if you are sitting down, you'll definitely have enough head clearance. And like I said, it's going to be 3 feet wide, so that's going to give you a definite nice desk area that you can work from. All right, so I'm going to be moving around, so to give you a general idea, I'll be going back and forth. But the first cut I want to make is how high this is going to be. This is basically a 4 foot by 4 foot square that I end up cutting. So I want this to be, let me see, it's 3 feet wide. So that's going to go out to here. So I'll make my mark for that. So that's nice and square. Make sure we get it exactly at 3 feet. Even if we're a little off, it's not that critical. But all right, so that's going to be my 3 foot mark. I'll mark that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting it right away. So I'm not even going to have to mark the rest of it. But I have my mark here. I'll be able to cut it. And this blade is not going to go all the way through. This is a little bit thinner material. I don't know if you can see, but just the tip goes through, and this is 1/2 inch. So you're not going to go all the way through, so you have to make a couple cuts. But just be patient, cut it out real nice. And I think while I'm here, let's mark out for 2.5 feet. So that's going to be 30 inches. So I'll make a little dash there, so I know exactly how far I got to cut up to. All right. All right, so you can see where I have the edge, and I'm basically just going to start up here, and I'm going to drag the knife right along the straight edge. So I got a nice cut all the way through. And next, I'll make a color cut. Alright, so that's my other mark. And same thing, I'm going to cut straight across. This will give you a better idea of what I'm doing. I'm basically keeping the knife as deep and across this as I can. And it's not cut as smooth as I wanted it to. And this is a brand new blade, but I'll make it work. That's not going to cut through there. Alright, so when you're getting ready to cut, I tried using the utility knife and it just made a lot of jagged cuts. So next thing I'm going to show you is basically, it's a hand hacksaw. I got this one from Lowe's. I'll put a link online in case you don't have one near you on where to pick one of these up at Amazon. But it's going to make a nice cleaner cut. Even though it's styrofoam, saw is going to be the best way to cut through. And again, use your straight edge, so you cut right along. Mark your edge that you're going to cut. And we're going to redo that cut that I made because that was a brand new blade and it was jumping all over the place. I haven't had that much trouble before, but 1 inch might be a little bit of a denser, thicker foam than I've used in the past. So just just mark it with a marker. And I got a nice straight line that I can follow. Clean up that jagged edge that I had. In fact, that was a piece I scored before. Now, if you look at it, that's what I do with the razor knife. It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe get a better view of how like patchy that looks. That's not going to make a good smooth surface for this to sit on or for anything to sit on top of. So, we'll go here with the saw, and I'll just cut right along the edges. So we're through. It's not as clean of an edge that I was looking for, but definitely a lot better. Right, then this side, since I scored it before, I'll break that right off. Alright, so I cut the piece down to a smaller size to start off with. You can cut that with a razor. It's going to probably be a little choppy if you're not using a straight edge, but just get it like down to within a couple inches. And what I mean by that is I'm going to start off making one of the side panels, and the side panel is 2 feet, and this is 29 inches. So I want 24 inches. And then the other side is 36 inches long currently, but I only need that to be basically 24 inches. So I can cut this down pretty decent, and you'll get a general idea of what I'm talking about when I measure it out. But again, use your straight edge. And you want to make some preliminary. Alright, you want to measure out first. So I want to make this 24 inches. So we'll make a mark here. I'll mark down on the other side too. And then I want this to be 30 inches or 2.5 feet tall. So I'll make another mark here, signifying how large I want it. So since we're on this side, I'm going to use a straight edge. Straight as we can. Hold it there. We'll use a handy dandy utility knife. Now it's important not to go too deep on the first cut. You basically kind of want to graze along. And if you're holding a straight edge nice and tight, you basically just kind of like line across the surface. Now it's important to hold it nice and tight against the straight edge, and it's going to want to go its own way, but it's important just to kind of keep it as tight as you can following the pattern. So that's my first cut. Second cut, you can go a little bit deeper as we're following the straight edge. said is 1 inch thick. We'll make it a little bit deeper of a cut on this third pass. Again, follow right along that straight edge. Alright, we're through on that side. Now we just put it up along the edge. Basically just smack it down. And not too bad. A little bit of cleaning up, but for the most part, that's a pretty nice, decent straight edge. Alright, on to the next piece. Let's always measure. So this one is going to be, that's our 38 mark. 30 mark. Then this is how high we want this to be. Over here. So this is going to be 24 inches, so we're going to be removing this side. Get that straight edge. Nice line it up. Work it around. Line that up to my mark. Check this side. 24 inches. So measure twice, cut once. Alright, so this is going to be the next cut. Like I said, follow right along that edge. The sharper the blade you have, the better. I'm still not 100% happy how this is cutting, but right along the edge of your workplace, and then just crack that piece off. And again, not 100% happy how that's cutting today, but anyway, so that's one side of your desk. All right, let's duplicate that and make another piece. Put that over there. The top piece is going to be 3 feet. So I'll measure that from here. That's your 3-foot mark. Just follow that over a couple of spots. So that's how wide it's going to be. And then you want it 2.5 feet high, 30 inches. Like I said, if you're a taller guy, you can make it 36 inches. Taller girl, whatever you're looking for. 30 inches out this way. Knife out. First, line up all your marks. Okay, like I said, nice sharp razor. Follow along right along that edge. This foam is rigid. This is jumping all over the place for me. one, go back through a little bit deeper. Man, there are some. They're not bubbles, but they're like really hard pieces. Like I said, most of this stuff is really used to put into walls and basement walls, so they don't care how smooth it is to cut. All right, so put that right on the edge. Snap that right off. This piece. That's going to the straighter side. Alright, cut this down. Let's measure that again. For some reason, that just doesn't look right. Yep, that's 30 inches. Like 3 feet. Okay. Always make sure. Right, first cut. Second cut a little bit deeper. To the edge. Nice little karate chop. Let's see if we can't use this piece for something. It's 36 by 18, so that's a little bit too small for our project. But I always like keeping foam pieces around. Never know we're going to use them on something else. Alright, so hopefully so far you guys are with me. So if you're looking at this, that is basically going to be your inside area. So this is where you set up your laptop or your tower, your monitors, your condenser mic, and then next I'll make the other side. So looking at 2 by 2.5. So this is going to be your 2 foot, 24 inches. And then we are going to be looking for 30 inches. 2.5 feet. So that's going to be your bottom mark. We'll cut this big piece right here. I'm on the right side. That's one score. This one will be a little bit deeper. is going to come around the other side, cut that so I can cut this board nice and quick. So we cut that. Finish it on this side, right on the edge. So that's another panel we got. This edge. 4. Yep, I like to measure a lot. Because material gets expensive when you make a wrong cut. Alright, get this piece. Second pass. Next. Break that piece down. And this will give you an idea. And not all put together, but that gives you an idea of the work area that you're going to have. And then with the acoustic foam in here, I mean, it's going to be your own personal little sound booth that sits on your desktop. All right, next is going to be, we're going to make the top. Now the top, since the sides are, the back of it's 36 inches long by 2 feet, we have to make the top 38 inches by basically 25 inches. So I'll give you a general idea of, because you're going to need that little bit of overhang on the whole thing. So that's, the top's going to stay on top, obviously. Let's see if we can't use, that's 24 inches. We might cheat a little bit on this one, since I don't have to cut that at all. So that's 24. Now we got to cut this to 38. 38 is right here. Last cut we're going to make. I hear that skipping. That foam is not cutting well at all today. But we're getting it done. Alright, so that is going to be your top. We'll assemble this again real quick for you. And that gives you a general idea of what it's going to look like. That is your soundproof box that you're going to make. And then when we put the acoustic foam in there, you are going to have a nice little non-echoey little sound booth for yourself. Okay, I had great footage of me spray painting the plastic dip onto the foam, but somewhere along the editing process that totally disappeared. So I'm going to give you a quick overview on the plastic dip one more time. Actually, it will be the first time for you, second time for me. But make sure that you put it on a decent coat when you're spray painting, and always wear a respirator, especially when you're spray painting. And what I'll do is I'll put 3 decent coats on this, but you want to wait at least 5 minutes in between each coat to make sure that it adheres pretty well. Maybe even a little bit longer. I'd probably go 10 minutes, but if you're in a hurry to get this project done, 5 minutes is the bare minimum. But anyway, let me put my respirator on and I'll start spraying and we go from there. All right, here we are the next day and the panels are completely dry, and we're going to flip them over in a little while and do the other side to get rid of the graphics. And not only are we looking to cover all the pieces, but we are trying to make more surface area for one. When we put the adhesive down, it's not going to degrade the foam anymore from the propellant, and 2, it makes more of a surface area for the adhesive to adhere to. So more area for these acoustic panels to be able to stick properly too, so they're not falling down after so long. And you can tell here, these are the untreated ones, and these are the ones that we had sprayed with the black plastic coat. So it took a little bit more than I thought, because the coverage, and it could actually probably use another coating, but I think we're good for now. I used 3 cans to cover all the surface area, and I'm actually going to have to go out and buy 3 more cans today. One to do the next set of the acoustic panels, and also to do the other side that has the graphics on the foam to cover that up. But overall, I think it came out pretty well, and you will see why when we start spraying the adhesive, why this is definitely helpful and beneficial. Anyway, on to the next part. Okay, here we go. Everything's been flipped around, and we'll start the next section of plastic coating all the foam. And again, that's just to increase the surface area, so the adhesive, spray adhesive, has something to, a better area to adhere to. And I'm not going to bore you by the play-by-play of spraying this over, but you got the general idea from the last video. Alright, so obviously this is a side that had the logo on it. And that's to be expected with the foam, because they ink it and they kind of like press it into the foam as well. But that is going to be where we're going to be gluing all the acoustic foam to, so you actually won't see it. So you'll see the plain side on the outside, and then this side will be on the inside, covered up with the acoustic foam. But anyhow, that's how it all came out. And next part is going to be the assembly. Okay, so I took the top off, and I've already laid the foam out on it so I could size it and do some cutting. But basically you are looking at 1 inch on the edges, because the foam itself is 1 inch wide. And you're going to make sure that you can make a flush in the front, but on the sides you want a 1 inch gap, and on the back you want a 1 inch gap. So basically you're going to be taking this, and you're basically going to be flipping it on top of that one. So hopefully you can visualize that. And then next thing, what we're going to do is we are going to be taking the high strength 3M contact adhesive, and we're going to be basically spraying both sides. What I mean by that is we're going to spray the back of this, and we're going to spray the back of the foam, and then basically just set the pieces right on top of that, and it should stick and hold. And then we're going to repeat the process on here, put them down on the sides and the back, and on the sides here. And the same thing. See how these pieces are basically butted up against one another and held together with the corsage pins temporarily. We got some Velcro put on there, but you'll basically be doing the same thing. So you'll have a 1 inch space along the back wall on the other side. This you can make kind of flush. This panel you can make kind of flush, but you'll get a general idea how much space you need when the foam hits out. In fact, let me show you real quick. So basically you have foam just coming up to the edge here, and then when you have foam coming here, you have to make a little bit of separation in the back. So I believe that's probably going to roughly be about an inch as well. But let's take a quick look here. A little bit more than that. Probably about 1.5 inches if you're looking at it. But I'll explain that as we get a little bit closer through the process. But First, I'm going to spray this panel down and lay all them together, and you'll get a general idea of how that goes as I'm doing it. Alright, so I dropped the side panel down, and I still haven't put the foam pieces in place yet, but I just wanted these two kind of laying down. So this side panel comes down. It's about 1.25 inches that you're looking for, because the foam itself is roughly about 1 inch at its highest peak, a little bit more. So you want to account for some imperfections. So I would go probably 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches maybe on the sides. And same thing here, you're going to be looking for about 1 inch on that side as well. But it'll make a lot more sense when you're actually physically doing it. And the good thing about this stuff is you can cut it with a pair of scissors. So if you have any mistakes in the sizing, you can cut right along the ridges all the way through, and I make the straight as a cut there, as you can see. And on the top, I'm just going to alternate the pattern on just that one top piece, because I want a nice smooth edge going through on the front overall. And again, it'll make a lot more sense as I'm putting everything together on the inside here. And you'll see like the alternating patterns, which will be a lot more important on the sides, and especially the back where you're projecting your voice to. But anyway. Alright, so I'm starting to lay them alternating pattern, and like I said, I just like to make a nice clean edge on the front part that it's going to be. But here on this back section, we'll flip it this way. I guess if we want to get a little crazy, I'll keep it like that. Okay. Alright, and you're going to cut in like 1 inch, about 1.25 inches, so it's going to be right along this line. And this stuff actually cuts really, really easy, which is a simple pair of scissors. So that's going to be the top pattern. This is going to be the bottom piece, same cut. And again, keep it 1 inch on the top. The bottom you can keep flush until you hit this back wall. And then when the two pieces go together, you know that you're going to be leaving the inch gap on the side. So this one you can cut flush. So inch there, inch along that side. Then we're going to be leaving it 1 inch here. And we're going to lay out foam pieces on that side. And again, that's the top. And we'll go with that nice alternating pattern. And again, since this is going to be on top, we're going to cut 1 inch off, because the overhang of that panel sitting down on top of it. So that's an extra piece. And then these we will alternate along the back. It's going to sit there like that, and we're going to cut 1 inch off of this. So it doesn't have to be exact, but okay, so that's about 1 inch there. Swing around to the other side. There. We're going to measure in about 1 inch. This one's going to be a little weird since it's not falling right in the middle.
So we'll try to cut that more to peak. See how that looks. So that'll give us an inch there. Then this top piece alternated there, so we're gonna have to cut an inch off this way. And this stuff cuts so easy. Okay, and then we'll cut an inch down this way. Start there. Okay, so that piece is done. And then we'll do this last side panel. And again, I like to start off so we have a nice clean edge looking into it. And we'll have to cut an inch off here because the top will be sitting on this piece. Right there. Okay, alternate the pattern. And we'll cut this piece. And then now we just gotta do that back section. As you can tell, 24 pieces is just enough to get this project done. Just enough. All right. That's going to be the bottom. So we'll cut an inch off of this. So that's going to be that panel. And then up here, we'll cut this section off. And then we'll cut the inch off on this side. All right, and there you have it. All your pieces are cut. And basically what you're going to be doing is I'm going to put a respirator on before we start spraying all these pieces together. But that gives you a real good idea of how to lay it out. Make sure you got the alternating pattern to maximize any echoing, not to maximize echoing, but to dampen any echoing that you might have. And there you go. So all right, even though I got a pretty big area in the garage, I got this 3M respirator, and it basically has an organic vapor filter on either side. So it's going to absorb not only dust, but it's going to absorb any of the vapor that we're going to be spraying around here. But anyway, always make sure you wear a respirator. All right, it's been 24 hours and the adhesive is completely dry, and what I like to do is just kind of run through and do the old squeeze test to see if everything is adhered, or glued rather. Velcro Pieces. That's a little loose, but that's passable for now. Like I said, if you got any real loose pieces, you can spray some more on. Yeah, there's a couple pieces lifting up. So I have to spray some other sections. They all look pretty good. But anyway, let me put this together and we're going to Velcro. And we'll Velcro these pieces together afterwards. I bought some lightweight Velcro. You don't want anything that's like this one is for 5 pounds. You don't want something that's like 30 pounds because you don't want to, like, it's so tight you're going to basically rip it off the sides. But just something good enough to hold it. And this is where the corsage pins come into play. I picked these up at on Amazon. I forget what it was, like $2-3 for the whole pack, but these things were great. So anyway, this is going to be wall, the first side wall, and it's going to go up against that. So we'll get the first corsage pin. And basically the only thing I'm doing is pushing that pin through. And like I said, these are the 2-inch, yeah, these are 2-inch corsage pins. We'll put one down here at the bottom. We'll hold that piece together. And that gives it pretty good stability. We'll put this other side wall up. Let me go around to the back. See how these go in. Nice, quick, and easy. Push that piece in at the bottom. Okay, like I said, we would use those corsage pins to hold it all together until we get the Velcro in place. But I kind of like using them anyway. If they pop straight out, usually what I do is you go in a little bit more of an angle, like that, if you can see. That way it's not going to pull straight out on you. It's got a little bit of a frame to hold on to. Alright, last but not least, the top, which will flip over this way. And as you can tell, everything is holding pretty well. As long as I get it lined up straight. That's there. Okay. And again, there you go. And put a couple of corsage pins around for stability. Put one here towards the front, one here on that side. Back here. One more back here. All right, so that is your frame, and that's what it looks like on the inside. And I don't know if you can hear, but that is a little bit of a big difference from out here, where you get a little bit of an echo going on, and then in here. So let me kneel down so I'm level with it. But out here you can kind of hear a little bit of an echo in my voice. But when you're facing in here, it is nice and dampened. Nicely, no echo. Now here, echo. And here, no echo. But anyway, that's all there is to that. Next we'll put some Velcro pieces to help hold everything together. And like I said, you're going to get a little bit of adhesive sections that are going to kind of like spray. It may not look 100%, but at this point, if you wanted to, you could hit it with another coat of like regular black paint, since everything is rubberized, and that will definitely get rid of any imperfections that you may see. But again, I think we're pretty solid here. Pull the Velcro out. And I'm actually going to make it, let me see what's going to work best. Let's say we'll probably do it 6-inch strips. We'll try that first. I just like Velcroing everything together. Actually, let's pick the soft side first. We'll cut off a couple 6-inch strips here. I'm just going to give you a quick demo of what we're going to do. It doesn't have to be exact, but keep it pretty tight so it's clean and symmetrical all the way around. Alright, so basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting these pieces here on the outside, but we're going to make it with Velcro, so it's going to be a little bit easier. You'll get a better understanding when I do this first piece. So 3 inches, we're going to cut down to 3, basically cutting it in half. Pretty simple. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a Velcro strip here. I don't know if I want to put it right in the edge, but we'll put it back a little bit first. So put that piece there. And again, you can put it on the edge if you want. It's not that critical. This is always the fun part, getting this adhesive tape off there. Now try to put it right in line, and you'll see why in a second. So that was a nice little soft side, as I call it. Then this is going to be the hook side. So we're going to make these strips 7 inches long, and you'll see why in a second. And this, you're not taking the adhesive back off. You're going to keep it intact. And basically what you're doing is you're just going to be going like this. And that's going to hold that piece in place. So if you were to take the corsage pin out, you have a nice platform on there. Now, you got to make sure too, when you are taking this off, you want to hold a piece, and as you rip it, I'm going to go a little on the gentle side. You don't want to like rip it off like you're, you put tape on someone's arm and you're ripping their hair off. So you want to be a little gentle to make it last. And this should hold pretty tight, but you might end up down the road, you might end up having a hot glue the soft side of the Velcro. That kind of makes sure that it like stays put a lot better over the years. But like I said, this is just kind of a quick and, like I like to say, quick and dirty way of doing this. So we'll do the same thing on this side. Put that piece right about here. Side right here. Then we'll cut. About a 7-inch piece again, right here. And like I said, this is more to hold it all together. Like I said, when I'm ready to take it off, I'm going to cut this piece a little bit shorter, I think. Like I said, it doesn't have the He-Man strength because, like you said, it's pretty stable as it is. But that's just going to make sure that, you know, it's not going to fall apart and it can kind of hold together while you're transporting it. Or if your dad's gone to the floor, or you want to move it to another place. And this probably would travel if you had the right size suitcase. And like I said, it's going to have to be a little bit larger of a suitcase, but it'll definitely probably travel. But I made it more importantly because, as you can tell, I got a lot of stuff going on in my workshop. So when I do record for my books, I want to make sure that I can take this down and put it up somewhere. And then this one we're going to put right here. Hopefully I'm going to edit this part out because, man, these are a pain in the butt sometimes. Okay, here we go. Put that piece right there. Go on this side. Right in line with the other side. All right, now we're going to make the hooks. Like I said, this is just going to give it some more rigid strength. So it'll stick together, and now we're going to make some for the back side so that holds really good. I don't think we're going to need a lot, so we're just going to make 2 strips for now. If it needs more, you can always add more later. But for this video, We're just going to do it nice and quick. I'm going to put this one down right in the middle for now. That should be about the middle. On that side. And you can measure. I'm just going to eye it up for now. So I think I have a pretty good eye for centering things. Some people may argue that, but alright, let's make the hooks. This side. You can see how the Velcro pulls that side in nice and tight. This side has a little bit of a bulge in it. Same thing, we'll pull it in nice and tight. So there you go. You have 1, 2, 3, and 3 on the other side. And like I said, if you're critical, which I'm not going to be, but you can definitely make it a lot tighter if you had to. And there you go. DeskTop Sound Studio. Next, I'm going to put the mic inside it so you guys can take a look and get a real idea of how this whole overall project will work for you. Okay, here is your desktop sound system. I think it came out great, actually. So, a little dark on the inside, but again, when you are using your laptop, I think that's going to give you plenty of lighting for whatever you need. And to give you an idea of the dimensions, walk around it real quick. So that gives you kind of an idea from either side how big that is. Like I said, I just got some light so it shows up good on film, because overall it was pretty dark when I was looking at it on the inside. But anyhow, overall, pretty nice job. And you can tell, like out here, my voice is kind of echoey. But as soon as you were going in here to get close to your mic, you can definitely hear how the echo is absolutely completely gone, even with the GoPro microphone. So you can imagine, even going through like the filter, how it's going to dampen your voice a lot more. So, and again, outside you get a good idea of the echo that I have going on in here. And then inside you have a nice monotone, absolutely free of any type of echo, and also any outer ambient noise is completely muffled. So it's just you and your microphone. Anyhow, I hope that gives you a real good idea of how this project came out. And again, I believe overall it was under $200 in materials. I don't even think it was that much, maybe about $150. But I'll put the price list below so you can see between the foam board, the sound dampening foam, the spray adhesive, the plastic dip to coat everything. But minus the equipment, you have one heck of a real nice sound studio on your desktop. I mean, how can you beat that? Anyway, hope this project helps you out. Brian Niskola, Garage Mahal. Thanks for watching, and as always, subscribing.